is Olivia Stark, and this is my informative speech. Imagine if you were told that you only had 4 years left to live. Humanity would cease to exist, life as we know it would end. Do you think that you could accomplish everything that you wanted to in just 4 years' time? According to Albert Einstein, this could become a reality if the bees were to disappear. The bees pollinate our crops, and crops feed people and other animals. Without the bees, we could potentially run out of food. The good news is, despite their recent decline, there are things that we can do to help. So what exactly are honeybees and what is a colony? A honeybee colony is comprised of one queen bee, several to a few hundred male bees that are called drones, and up to 60,000 worker bees, all sexually undeveloped females. Much like this class and human beings as a whole, the colonies require effective communication in order to function. According to the MAAREC, members of a colony release chemical pheromones and conduct communicative dances, all to maintain a functioning colony. Each type of bee serves a different function, so it's safe to assume that a colony could not survive without any one of its members. The queen bee's sole function is to lay the eggs. Drones mate with the queen, although according to the American Beekeeping Federation, only 1 in 1,000 will be able to do so. The worker bees have a more intensive role. They prepare the food, they feed the queen, drones, and baby bees called brood, and they heat and cool the hive. These bees only live 6 to 8 weeks in the summer. During this time, they travel 1.5 times the circumference of the Earth. So what does this mean for us, and why do we need the bees? According to the Ecology Center, honeybees are the only insects that provide us with food that we can actually eat. They pollinate over $15 billion worth of crops in the US, and they produce $150 million in honey per year. Cross-pollination from the bees is estimated to help 30% of the world's food crops and 90% of wild plants to grow. According to US News, 70 of the world's 100 crop species are pollinated by the bees. Those crops feed 90% of mankind. The bees are also here to keep people in business. From beekeepers around the world to farmers right here in the Midwest, many people rely on the bees for work. So what's the problem? The bees are disappearing. A couple years ago, American beekeepers reported losses of 42% of their colonies, according to US News. In a much broader perspective, 1/3 of all colonies have disappeared since 2006. That's just a short 10 years. This decline is from a disorder called colony collapse disorder. This results from a combination of global warming, habitat loss, exposure to pesticides, invasive parasites, and inadequate food supply. This decline is closely linked to the use of insecticides by farmers. As many of you may know, an insecticide is basically a pesticide used to repel or kill off insects, including the bees. A study from Harvard University found that 70% of pollen and honey collected from the local beekeepers had enough insecticides to cause detrimental health effects. Another cause is global warming, as well as air pollution. According to ActiveSustainability.com, air pollution reduces the strength of chemical signals released by flowers, making it difficult for the bees to locate. If they can't find flowers, they can't pollinate them. There is good news to all of this. We can do something to help. The New York Bee Sanctuary has compiled a list of several things we can do to help to save the bees. First and foremost, we can avoid using pesticides, fungicides, and herbicides on plants in our garden. We can also buy local and raw honey from our local beekeepers. This can be easily done at farmers markets. We can also plant bee-friendly plants. Some of these are cosmos, yellow sunflowers, marigolds, lavender, thyme, and poppies, just to name a few. If you see a lethargic bee anywhere, there are things you can do to help to revive it. You can give it a combination of 2 tablespoons of white sugar and 1 tablespoon of water in a spoon for it to eat and give it some energy. If you see a swarm of bees, don't panic. You should call your local beekeeper if you think that they pose a threat. We can also start by signing petitions. The European Union has already banned the bee-killing pesticides, so why can't America do it? Change.org has many petitions you can sign to help ban these bee-killing pesticides. So as we've learned, bees are more than just annoying buzzing pests. Honeybees are organized within a complex colony. They each serve different purposes and functions. They pollinate most crops, which become food. They create honey to eat and make stuff from, and they provide jobs. So if in just 10 years' time, 1/3 of all of the bee colonies have disappeared, What's the next 10 years going to look like? What about 20? We can't afford to lose the bees. There's so many reasons that we need the bees, and fortunately many ways that we can also help to protect them, even from the comfort of our own homes, as I listed previously. And if you're afraid of the bees, just remember it takes 1,100 stings to kill a human being.